I have found the first Mingmong. Or how a knowledge of classic philosophers can affect your view of New Who. Staged as an imagined dialogue between the assorted masses of the pro-Russell T Davies fandom. Drawn from a variety of points made in debates over the years. And that great thinker Aristotle, regarding various and diverse observations drawn from the latter's on the art of poetry, wrote in the 4th century BC. Firstly, Aristotle. When you consider the audiences and the AI figures, you must admit that New Who is a triumphant rebirth, able to stand and triumph over any other show like it in terms of the acting, the writing and the special effects combined to create something superior to any previous incarnation of the show.
The production of spectacular effects is more the province of the property man than of the playwright.
Harsh. But what of the brilliance of the special effects, the sheer spectacle, that this new incarnation has given us? Do you not realize that in this day and age it is crucial that the show should stand alongside the spectacles that contemporary cinema and television offer us?
Spectacle or stage effect is an attraction, of course, but it has the least to do with the playwright's craft, or with the art of poetry. Fear and pity may be excited by means of spectacle, but they can also take their rise from the very structure of the action, which is the preferable method and the mark of a better dramatic poet. To produce this effect by means of stage spectacle is less artistic, and requires the cooperation of the producer.
Indeed, but this is the true mark of the current producer's genius, that they have achieved a synthesis of spectacle and emotion. Why, the AIs prove that they are reaching the audience, as they aim to do.
Those who employ spectacle to produce an effect, not of fear, but of something merely monstrous, have nothing to do with tragedy. Since the dramatic poet has by means of his representation, to produce the tragic pleasure that is associated with pity and fear, it is obvious that this effect is bound up with the events of the plot.
Plot? Plot? But that's just empty plotness. Why, we transcended such base needs, when fandom was less than half its present size. No, surely plot is the least of the requirements for good drama and tragedy, particularly when we have the greatest character in television history to explore?
The plot is the first essential of tragedy. Its lifeblood and character takes second place. It is much the same in painting, for if an artist were to daub his canvas with the most beautiful colors laid on at random, he would not give the same pleasure as he would by drawing a recognizable portrait in black and white. Tragedy is the representation of an action, and it is chiefly on account of the action that it is also a representation of persons.
What, then, of that most detested of criticisms of New Who, that it is too often reliant on a famous Greek theatrical tradition to resolve its plot developments?
It is obvious that the unraveling of the plot should arise from the circumstances of the plot itself, and not be brought about ex machina. The deus ex machina should be used only for matters outside the play proper, either for things that happened before it, and that cannot be known by the human characters, or for things that are yet to come, and that require to be foretold prophetically, for we allow to the gods the power to see all things. However, there should be nothing inexplicable about what happens, or if there must be it should be kept outside.
Why, Aristotle, you must be a dull straight. Do you not realize how utterly superb the current writers and producers are, which will surely be amply demonstrated by the forthcoming specials representing, it cannot be denied, the apotheosis of the RDD approach, a personal statement of his triumph?
Monotony will soon bore an audience and ruin the effect. The poet should speak as little as possible in his own person. Stories should not be made up of irrational incidents. Anything irrational should as far as possible be excluded, or if not, at least kept out of the tale proper.
Nonsense. Why, this is a program that revels in doing 6 impossible things before breakfast, as the heroic doctor himself will often proudly boast.
Plots like these should not be devised in the first instance, but if a poet does employ such a plot, and it appears that it could have been worked out more reasonably, then his endeavor is entirely misplaced.
But wait. That sort of thing used to go on all the time back in the old days. Why, it was even worse. At least Russell T Davies provides an explanation for the Jesus magic laser satellites in Last of the Time Lords, and the Daleks had devised a proper mechanism whereby they stole all those planets. The answer is in there if you look, you know, unlike, say, Pyramids of Mars where the doctor whips out a device at the last moment with no explanation at all. Or the Metabolist 3 crystal of the magic elixir of the Sisterhood of Karn. Why, they're just made up. I bet you just love those. I bet you rub the DVD of Genesis of the Daleks across your body at night. You Ming-Mong.
Generally speaking, the impossible has to be justified on grounds either of poetic effect, or of an attempt to improve on reality, or of accepted tradition. As far as poetic effect is concerned, a convincing impossibility is preferable to an unconvincing possibility. For the ideal type ought to be surpassingly good. However, irrationality and depravity are rightly censured when there is no need for them, and they are not properly used.
You're just a hater, Aristotle.